Have you ever looked at your cat and wondered, what is he thinking right now? Those long stares, that mysterious silence, the unpredictable behaviors. Cats have their own world, full of subtle signals and actions that we don't always understand. But what if I told you that today we're going to decode the feline mind? That's right. We're going to dive into the world of cats and understand what's going on behind those watchful eyes. Stick with me until the end because you're about to see your cat in a whole new way. Cats don't speak like we do, but they communicate, a lot. With their body, their tail, their gaze, and even with silence. Every movement, every sound they make, has a purpose. For example, when your cat rubs his face on you, it's not just affection, it's marking territory and showing trust. When he stares at you out of the blue or gives you a short, direct meow, he might be trying to tell you something very specific. What might seem like a simple behavior is often a clear message of what he's feeling or wanting. And that's where many people get lost. By the way, before we dive deeper, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you love cats as much as I do. Here, we talk about everything from feline behavior, interesting cat facts, and all things related to the mysterious world of our furry companions. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It really helps spread the word and bring more cat lovers into the community. And drop a comment below. Have you ever tried to guess what your cat is thinking? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Trust me, you're not the only one wondering about those little feline mysteries, so let's share and learn from each other. What makes our bond with cats so special is that, even though they can't speak our language, they have this incredible ability to connect with us through their actions and energy. Sometimes we think they're just being playful or independent, but often, there's so much more going on beneath the surface. So, whether your cat is acting aloof, overly cuddly, or giving you that signature side eye, there's always something to decipher. Let's explore all those subtle clues together. It's going to be an exciting journey. Now, getting back to it. One of the most fascinating things about cats is how they observe everything around them with almost scientific attention. They analyze every movement, every sound. When you think they're distracted, they've already noticed who entered the house, heard that noise outside, and can even tell exactly where their favorite toy is. Their sense of perception is insanely sharp, and they often sit still, just observing, like true strategists. It's pure instinct, but also a key part of each cat's individual personality. Cats are natural-born hunters, and this hyper-focused observation is hardwired into their instincts. In the wild, this kind of attentiveness helps them detect prey or potential danger. Even domesticated cats, with all their comfort and luxury, still retain this sharp survival skill. That's why when you think your cat is just lounging around, they might actually be calculating their next move or silently processing the world around them. What's even more intriguing is how this behavior varies from cat to cat. Some cats are more curious and investigative, always on the lookout for something new to explore. Others are more reserved, observing from a distance, quietly absorbing everything around them. But no matter the type, this intense focus and awareness of their surroundings is one of the things that makes cats so captivating. It's like they're always on the lookout, ever ready for whatever comes next, but in a totally calm, composed way. And it's not just the big things they notice. Cats are experts in picking up on the smallest of details, the faintest sounds, the shift in light, or the slightest movement of an object. It's like they have a sixth sense, always tuned into their environment. That's why your cat can sometimes act like they know you're coming home even before you open the door or can hear you stepping down the hallway. They sense it. And that quiet, still moment when they're just sitting there, watching, is them processing the world in their own cat-like way. It's also interesting to note that this attentiveness is linked to their personalities. While some cats might be more independent and observant, others might be more social and actively seek interaction. Either way, their ability to remain so in tune with their surroundings is something we can't help but admire. Do you notice these little moments with your own cat? When they seem to know exactly what's happening around them, even when you think they're zoning out. It's one of those things that reminds you how complex and intelligent they really are. Speaking of personality, there's something really important here. Every cat thinks in their own way. You've got the adventurous cat, the clingy one, the suspicious one, the natural-born leader. And each one expresses their thoughts in different ways. That cat who ignores you all day but curls up next to you at night? They trust you more than they let on. The one who follows you around the house, even when they're not asking for affection. They're monitoring you, whether it's out of care, habit, or affection. Yes, they think about us all the time. And knowing how to interpret these thoughts completely changes the relationship between you and your cat. What's amazing about cats is that they're incredibly unique in how they interact with the world, especially when it comes to us, they're humans. Unlike dogs, who are more overt in their affection and dependency, cats are often a bit more subtle and reserved. They don't always show their feelings in ways that are easy for us to interpret, but when we start to understand their personalities and communication styles, we see just how much they care, even if they don't always express it in the traditional, let's cuddle all the time way. For instance, that cat who keeps its distance during the day but sleeps next to you at night isn't being cold. Far from it. That's often a sign that they trust you deeply. They may not need constant attention, but when the world is quiet and they're comfortable, that's when they feel safe enough to relax and bond. Cats have their own way of setting boundaries, and respecting those boundaries is a big part of their way of showing trust. And then there's the cat who follows you from room to room. They're not necessarily being clingy, but they're certainly keeping an eye on you. This could mean they're checking on you because they care, they're curious about what you're doing, or it could just be part of their routine. Cats are creatures of habit, so if following you around is part of their daily rhythm, it might simply be that they want to be near you, even if they don't demand direct affection. It's also worth noting that cats don't just think about us in terms of affection. They think about us in a more complex way. They analyze our moods, our behaviors, and they adjust accordingly. If you're stressed or upset, your cat might respond by becoming more affectionate or, on the flip side, giving you space. They've learned to read us just as much as we try to read them. This dynamic makes our relationship with cats so much more layered than we might initially realize. So, when you notice your cat doing something that doesn't seem to make sense at first, whether it's the way they choose to show affection or their seemingly random behaviors, try to look deeper. Understand that it's not just random or instinctive. It's a reflection of their unique personality and the way they process the world around them. Have you ever noticed these differences in your cat's behavior? Maybe one is more independent, while the other is a little extra clingy, or maybe they each have their own quirky way of showing they care. It's like discovering the little secrets of their feline minds, and once you get it, it makes the bond between you even stronger. Have you ever noticed how your cat chooses exactly where to sleep? How they always seem to find the highest shelf, the coziest corner, or that hidden spot behind the couch? That's no coincidence. Cats are extremely intentional about where they rest. Every choice they make is a blend of instinct, comfort, and territorial awareness. They're not just looking for a soft pillow, they're thinking about safety, visibility, and control. That's the feline mind at work, a mix of survival instinct and personal preference. Unlike us, who might flop down on the nearest couch or bed, cats evaluate their environment before committing to rest. They'll sniff, observe, listen, and sometimes even test a few spots before choosing the one that feels just right. This process is deeply rooted in their wild ancestry. In the wild, choosing a poor sleeping spot could mean being vulnerable to predators or rival animals. Even our cozy indoor cats carry that ancestral programming. They want a place where they feel protected, hidden or elevated, and where they have some degree of control over their surroundings. That's why high places are so appealing. A perch on top of a shelf, cabinet, or cat tree gives your cat a sense of security and dominance. From up there, they can see everything without being easily approached or startled. It gives them the advantage of distance and perspective. On the flip side, some cats prefer enclosed, cave-like spaces, under the bed, inside a cardboard box, or nestled between pillows. These spots offer a sense of protection and insulation, reducing exposure to noise and sudden movements. And here's something really special. When a cat chooses to sleep next to you, or even better, on you, it's a powerful sign of trust. Cats are most vulnerable when they're sleeping. So if your cat regularly curls up next to you, or chooses to nap in your presence, it means they feel truly safe. They've decided that you're part of their secure environment. Not every cat will do this easily. Some take time, testing the waters, slowly inching closer over weeks or months. Others bond quickly and show their trust through physical closeness. It's also worth paying attention to how your cat sleeps near you. Do they sleep with their back turned? That's confidence, They don't feel the need to watch you. Do they lie belly up? That's the ultimate sign of vulnerability and trust. Do they rest with one eye slightly open? Maybe they're still learning to relax around you fully, or they're just being extra cautious because of other environmental factors. So the next time your cat hops onto a shelf to nap, disappears under the bed, or curls up right next to your legs, know that there's a lot more going on than just finding a spot. They've assessed the area, considered their options, and made a deliberate choice based on how secure and comfortable they feel. Understanding this small but significant behavior deepens the connection you have with your cat. Because once you recognize how much thought and instinct goes into something as simple as where to nap, you start to see just how aware, sensitive, and complex your cat really is. Another key point we can't overlook: the meow. Contrary to what many people think, cats don't meow to other cats very often, especially in adulthood. That vocalization is mainly reserved for one very specific audience: us, humans. In other words, your cat has learned to communicate with you. And that alone says a lot about how intelligent, and yes, how strategic they truly are. This behavior isn't just instinctive, it's intentional. Cats quickly realize that we, unlike them, rely heavily on sound and verbal cues to interact. So what do? They adapt. They figure out that certain sounds, like a specific meow, a chirp, or even silence, can get a reaction out of you. They watch how you respond when they meow by the food bowl, or when they let out a tiny cry near the door. If you get up, answer, feed them, or follow their lead, they take note. Over time, this becomes a refined and personal form of communication, a silent dialogue between you and your cat, built on observation, feedback, and repetition. And make no mistake, it's not just a one-way street. Every time you respond to your cat's meow, whether it's with words, movement, or even eye contact, you're taking part in that conversation, whether you realize it or not. You might say something like, "What is it, buddy?" or walk over to see what they want, and in their mind, that worked. So they file it away for next time. Even more fascinating is how each cat develops a unique vocabulary with their human. Some cats are more vocal by nature and have a whole range of sounds: long meows, short chirps, trills, even what some people call cat chatter. Others are more subtle, using a single type of meow for different needs, relying on context and timing to get their message across. You might notice, for example, that the meow your cat uses in the morning to wake you up is completely different from the one they use when they want to play or be let outside. That's not a coincidence. That's communication. And let's talk about the emotional intelligence behind that. Cats are incredibly skilled at reading human behavior. They observe your routines, your tone of voice, your energy. They know when you're relaxed, when you're busy, when you're stressed, and often adjust their behavior accordingly. A cat might be more vocal when you're distracted, more gentle when you're calm, or more persistent if they feel they're being ignored. Again, this isn't random. It's strategic adaptation. It's also interesting to consider how this affects your bond. The more you talk back to your cat, whether it's through actual speech, gestures, or even just eye contact, the more you're reinforcing that connection. You're letting them know, "I hear you, I see you, I understand you." And that builds trust, respect, and a deeper emotional bond. So the next time your cat meows at you, pause for a moment before brushing it off as just noise. Think about what they might be trying to say. Is it hunger, a greeting, boredom, affection? Over time, as you learn their language and they refine theirs for you, you'll be amazed at how rich and nuanced that conversation becomes. And hey, if your cat talks to you a lot, take it as a compliment. It means they think you're worth communicating with. And what about those moments when your cat watches you while you sleep or stares at you for several seconds? A lot of people find it strange, but it's actually more common than you'd think. When they observe you in silence, they're often trying to understand your emotional state. Cats are extremely sensitive to energy and emotions. If you're sad, your cat feels it. If you're anxious, they notice. And sometimes, they just want to make sure everything is okay. It's almost as if they're thinking, "Is my human doing all right today?" And now that you've taken this deep dive into the feline world with me, tell me in the comments, what's the one behavior your cat does that still leaves you puzzled? That thing you just can't figure out? Let's share experiences, because every cat is a universe of their own. And the more we share, the more we understand these incredible little creatures. If you made it this far, first of all, thank you so much. You now understand more about what your cat is thinking than most people out there. And second, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with that friend who's always wondering why cats act so weird. And remember, the more you understand your cat, the more they trust you, and the stronger that silent, magical bond becomes. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, pay closer attention to your cat. They're trying to tell you something.